Hi guys and Assalamu alaikum. This video is specially dedicated to IELTS speaking part 2 because it's the most tough part of IELTS speaking test and most of the students are scared of this IELTS speaking part 2 because you have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes on a continuous basis and you will be marked on this part. So let's begin about this part. So first of all, let me tell you about the marking of IELTS speaking part 2. In this IELTS speaking part 2, you will be marked on the basis of your fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammar, and pronunciation. So surely if you know these four criterias of marking, you can have this when you are practicing and when you are delivering your speech during your test. So you can focus on these four criterias and try to improve in each area so that you will be marked good bands in the IELTS exam. A lot of people who are practicing for IELTS exam, they are not aware of this criteria that these are the four pillars of IELTS speaking on the basis of which you will be evaluated and you'll be marked for your speaking exam. So let's first discuss these four areas and what does these means. What do they mean? So the first is fluency and coherence. In fluency and coherence, you'll be marked on how fluent you are in speaking in English and how coherent you are. That means that how you are able to articulate and arrange your ideas while you are speaking. So the next thing is lexical resource. Lexical resource means what is the range of vocabulary you have. Like for example, whether you are able to use synonyms or not, whether you are able to use different words particular to pertinent to a certain area of the question you are being asked for. And for example, if you are able to use modern technology and instead of modern technology use cutting edge technology, so that means that you know the particular vocabulary of that area. So this is lexical resource, that whether you are able to find pertinent words to pertinent areas. So the next thing is grammar. We all know that you will be marked upon your grammar, whether you are able to use the correct grammar, the correct tenses. For example, if you're using present tense, you should know that you are going to use the first form of verb. Similarly, for second form, you're going to use second form, and so on and so forth. So this is the third criteria, and the fourth is pronunciation. You should be able to pronounce the word correctly. I'm not talking about the accent. Accent may differ from person to person related to their depending on their native languages. Obviously we cannot speak fluently like an American, native American, or a native Britisher, but we should be able to pronounce the word correctly. So let's move forward. These are the overall tips and strategies, particularly for your IELTS speaking part 2, because it's a very tricky and difficult part of the IELTS speaking exam. So let me describe from the beginning what you can do. First, you will be given about 1 minute where you have to make notes. So the very first strategy or tip I am going to give you is when you are given 1 minute to make notes, don't write whole sentences to make notes. Just write keywords or topics or anything that you from which you can remember that what are you going to say while you speak in that preparation time. So next is speak slowly and clearly, because there should be unambiguous voice. You should be able to clearly deliver your message and speak slowly, because when you are going to speak fast, your words might mingle into each other and you are not able to pronounce a word correctly, and in haste you might not pronounce the word with their correct pronunciation and you might mark down for that. So speak slowly and clearly. And I also mentioned this tip in my previous speaking video, that use pause fillers and avoid long gaps, because if you are going to give long gaps in your speaking, that means that you are hesitating and your fluency will be marked down for this. So you can use pause fillers so that your fluency won't be marked down. And what pause fillers you can use, in other words, this means that another point I should mention is, anyway, let me give you an example. And whenever you are mentioning some reasons or some kind of thing that are more in number, for example, if you are giving results or consequences to a particular situation, you might use firstly, secondly, lastly. And then you can also use the other thing I should say is, for longer pause fillers you can use, let me think about that for a minute. I can't remember that much about, but I can say that, or I would add into it. I'm going to talk about, that's all, that's about all I can say. The first thing I should say is, that's a tough one, that's an interesting or tricky question. So you can use these type of pause fillers when you are not able to think. So these pause fillers will also help you to mark for your fluency, and as well as give you much time to think about the topic. Next is, use transition phrases to move between different topics or sections of your answer. So what transition phrases means? Transition phrases means you can use again, moreover, therefore. These are the transition phrases which you can use to more, you can say, um, make your speech better or improve your speaking with these kind of transition phrases. Next, what you can do, aim to speak for half to 2 minutes, because the examiner might stop you after 1 minute, but you should gather your ideas, because when you are delivering your ideas you don't know that what time will it take. So the final tip is, do lots of practice before the final test, because if you're not practicing, you are not familiar with the pattern, with the structure of the exam, then definitely if you're going it for the first time on the exam day, then you might make mistakes. And if you are going to practice it beforehand, these mistakes will go away. Then try recording yourself on your phone and listening the pronunciation and listening for pronunciation errors, and you can also spot some grammatical errors in your audio. So do that, and let's move towards the structured response of the IELTS task 2. That is very important if you are going to appear in the IELTS exam, especially for part 2, because if you're not familiar, I have been mentioning this several times, that if you're not familiar, you are more vulnerable to mistakes. So, sections of speech, how you can organize your speech. First, you can give an introduction, then details, then description and explanation, then a concluding sentence. So, let me describe you. This is the example of the question of IELTS task 2, speaking task 2. So, in this way, you will be given a cue card, question cue card, and the examiner will ask you to make notes, for you can prepare yourself for about 1 minute, and then you have to speak for 2 minutes. So this is the question you will be given, this type of question, not this is the question, this type of question you will be given on your exam day. So here is a cue card. Describe a restaurant that you enjoyed going to. You should say where the restaurant was, why you choose this restaurant, what type of food you ate in this restaurant, and explain why you enjoyed eating this restaurant. So next, I'll be describing different sections that you can divide your speech into for IELTS task 2, so that you'll be able to speak for 2 minutes on this exam day. So let's begin with the response. This is a structured response for your IELTS speaking task 2, and you can do it for any cue card, any question card you'll be given. So first, these are the 4 areas you can divide your speech into, and you can make any changes in this regarding your experience, what you felt over there, and anything memorable you wanted to add in this. So you can do that, but this is the main response. This is how you can structure your response for your IELTS speaking task 2. So firstly, you can divide into intro. Sections can be introduction, details, describe or explain, concluding sentence. So for introduction, what your strategy will be? The question asked me. Now I'll go back to the question and I'll describe a restaurant that you enjoyed going to. Okay, so I'm going to start off with this restaurant that I enjoyed going to. So the strategy is start with which restaurant you like. Okay, so you're going to mention that uh, the restaurant that you like going to was KFC. This is your introduction. Okay, and you will make notes. What you will write in your notes, you'll write KFC. You're not going to write the whole sentence that the restaurant I like going to was KFC, because if you're going to write the whole sentence, you'll be left with no time for the other sections of your speech, and you have to make notes for each section so that you'll be able to speak fluently for the 2 long minutes. Okay, then the details. What details are you going to give? Concentrate on the question asked and ascertain that you answer them fully. Now, in this part of the question, you have to answer these 3 questions that are asked after you should say. Okay, so what you can say, what details can you add? The second question asks about where the restaurant was. So you can mention the location, and you can mention of to make it more longer so that you may able to speak for 2 long minutes. What you can do, you can add in the specialty of that restaurant, or what is famous, or what you like about that restaurant. So you can say that Mighty Zinger was is really scrumptious or very juicy, and then you can say that this is a specialty of KFC, and the burger and the fries are the most delicious of anything other than in the town. Okay, then the next is describe or explain. Now they have asked you about why you choose this restaurant. Now you have to give your reasons. Here you can give several reasons and you can structure your response according to that. So how you are going to structure your response? There are numerous reasons. Firstly, secondly, thirdly, you can use these phrases. You can use these phrases to answer, to address different reasons, so that your speech will be structured, it will be organized, your ideas will be articulated. So firstly, you can say that the first reason is the price. The price is very reasonable. You can be stuffed in a small amount on a small price, and you can add this in your first reason. Then in your second reason, you say that convenient location. The location is very convenient. And you can also about KFC, you can also add about KFC that there are different outlets of KFC present all over the city. So that's why you can approach this restaurant from anywhere. If you are in the office, if you're at home, you can add these type of information into it. Then you can add taste. You can say that the taste of the KFC is very delicious and it's very scrumptious, and there is no restaurant that has equal taste till now. Thirdly, you can add your customer service. You can say that the customer service is very nice over there if you are being given your wrong meal, and they are very quick and they are very smooth and seamlessly replace your meal. Or you can say that they served you very well the last time when you went there. They were able to serve you the meal you wanted, and they were also able to make changes in the deal according to your taste, or according to your wish, according to your choice. So you can add these type of reasons. Then you can give your concluding sentence. For concluding sentence, you are going to summarize your response in this one sentence. So you can always start it with overall, and if you want to start with some other words, you can also start with that. But preferably for concluding sentences, we use overall. The service they offer by serving scrumptious food at reasonable price is amazing. So you can use any other type of concluding sentence as well, or you can also mention the last thing that is very memorable, or that you that stuck in your mind because of their customer service or anything else that you want to mention. So this is how you are going to structure your response for IELTS task task 2, and you'll definitely get good bands if you are going to structure your uh, response in this way. And keeping in mind the four criterias on the basis of which you will be evaluated, if those four criterias are correct and your response is structured in this way, you will be able to get good bands. And this is how I scored 8.5 bands in my IELTS speaking exam. So stay tuned for more videos. Next I'll be uploading more videos related to speaking and writing, and do drop in the comment section if you want me to make video to any other particular topic related to IELTS.